to rise and shine!
The 100-Line Last Defense Academy was one of the most wild games I've played this entire year, and has so many great aspects about it that I can't wait to go into. Before I get into the review of the 100-Line though, I want to talk about the creation of this game because I think it's very interesting. Two well-known directors came together to create this interesting original IP. The first one is Kazuta Kodaka, who is in charge of making Danganronpa, Rain Code, Tribe 9. And then there's Kotaro Uchikoshi, who was known for his Zero Escape series and overall working in the visual novel department and loves to add a bunch of science fiction into his games. The game was released by 2Kyo Games, and with them working on this, they actually went into debt and had to take out a loan to get this game going, and they specifically wanted to create a game that has not been made before. The 100-Line Last Defense Academy is a huge passion project with a lot of love, and I love Kodaka as well because he's always retweeting everyone's reactions to the game, including a bunch of my tweets he's already retweeted, and love the excitement. I love that they were willing to put everything on the line for this game. Get it? Because 100-Line? Okay, never mind. But regardless, does this game meet those expectations that they put out for themselves? Well, they pretty much did in most of the regard for me. So let's get into the review of the 100-Line Last Defense Academy and why I honestly think this will be probably the most slept on game of the entire year. The game starts with Takumi Samino living his ordinary, boring life. And what I love about this game's story is it starts out so simple, so it's easy to follow, but there's so much mystery and intrigue and twists and turns through the whole thing that it is always going to keep you on your toes, but it's not hard to get into. The beginning is interesting, but also very simple. He's going through his ordinary life, talking about how his day-to-day is exactly the same, and then out of nowhere, their town gets attacked by these creatures called the Invaders, and they're running for their lives. Absolutely confused out of his mind, Takumi runs then into this weird school mascot looking dude called Sirei, and he hands him this device called the Hemo Anima. Takumi is told that the only way to save himself and his best friend that has a big crush on him, and seemingly who he has a crush on as well, is to stab himself with the Hemo Anima and take out these invaders. Of course, he's like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is the town getting invaded? Why are you handing me this and telling me to stab myself? But overall, he decides it's the best option or they will die. After successfully taking out the invaders, Takumi passes out. And then he wakes up in a classroom full of a bunch of other students, totally confused, even more so than before, and he is told he has to survive 100 days and guard the school. On the 100th day, they will figure out why they needed to guard the school and possibly save humanity. There's some secret device hidden deep within the school that the students are not allowed to know about, and if the invaders break in and get it, then it's the end of humanity as they know it. And that is the setup for the plot, and then you basically live through these 100 days and follow the mystery along with all of these characters. This story keeps you on your toes the entire time. Just when you think it's gonna slow down and get a little chill, something happens to keep you totally intrigued. And there's a lot of things they are not gonna directly tell the player. And if you've heard already, the game has 100 different endings. And no, that is not an exaggeration. It has 100 specific different endings. There's two things if you enjoy in an RPG that I think you should absolutely play this game. One is character writing. Every character has so much personality and depth to them, and watching their interactions with each other and basically trying to live alongside each other with these crazy personalities for a whole 100 days is crazy and most of the time absolutely hilarious. The other factor that if you enjoy it, you should definitely pick up this game is dialogue choices and choices that change the story. Because I want to keep this review as spoiler free as possible, I'm not going to give you any hints to how the game has this many endings, but what I will tell you is they are not half-assed. They're totally in depth and they will go based on your decisions in the game. The game basically allows itself to go over and over into different endings, and you basically get to unlock all of them. And there is one canon one, it seems, but at the same time, you could just choose the ending that you enjoy best. And there's a lot of play time you could have on this game. The first 100 days is damn near the intro and prologue, even though that still takes around 30 hours. The 100-Line definitely gives sufficient new mechanics throughout its journey to keep it interesting, but genuinely, when you hit that 100-day mark, you're going to unlock a whole nother side to this game, and it just keeps on going. It's kind of wild. And again, these characters are so fun, dude. This game has me laughing my ass off constantly. It's pretty absurd.
I don't know why you don't just get married and make it official already.
Huh? Sheesh, Mom! Don't encourage her!
I'm not a dork like that thing. You gotta be kidding me. She was a total babe this whole time?
Both the English and the Japanese voice acting is just spot on. The characters have so much personality, and again, they really had me laughing my ass off a lot of the time. So what's the gameplay like, right? The 100 line is actually pretty cool because it's mostly told in a visual novel format, but there's also 3D cutscenes and there's also combat. Now that's huge for me because it makes it lean more into a Jrpg, because visual novels, while they could have really cool stories, I need some gameplay on the side, right? I really can't get into visual novels. I need some sort of combat system, and the combat system they use here is actually very fun. So you're going to be doing something different each of these 100 days, and some of it is time management. Now, you're not really on a timer, but your options on what you want to do is up to you, especially when it says free time. There, you could go bond with your characters to increase your grades, so each character will have a specific category like math, gym, science, and when you grow your bond closer to them, you get to see more of their character, as well as level up your grades, which will let you get new combat abilities. You could also go craft new items, go explore outside the school, craft new gifts to give to your characters, which increases their bond furthermore, whole bunch of different things. If you enjoy life sims or the Persona series or things like that where you're increasing character bonds or kind of just get to use your free time how you want to upgrade your stats, you will really enjoy the flow in this game. If you're not having free time, then the story is usually going to be pushing itself forward, and again, as it has this visual novel presentation, it also has a good amount of 3D cutscenes and they're very well animated. The facial expressions look so emotive, and the music is awesome in these cutscenes and in battles, so it has a lot to this game. And then you'll have days where the school gets invaded, and this is where the combat system comes in. Now, they went with a strategy turn-based combat system similar to something like Fire Emblem, and it's really cool here and has its own gimmicks. Sometimes it reminds me of a tower defense game in a little bit, because you have to guard the school, right? So you have a system where if your characters die, you lose. If they break through the barrier, you also lose. So you want to kind of put up metal fences, set traps, as well as choosing which combat abilities you want to use to kill the enemies or the boss. The characters all use weapons and abilities that are very core to their personalities as well, which I really liked. And a few other gimmicks for this strategy combat is if you die using a super move or die in general, the characters come back next round. Now, there's a story reason for that. I'm not going to go into it because slightly spoilers, but it comes up kind of early, so it's not that bad. But in general, your characters can come back and you can use that to your advantage. When your character gets low health, you can activate their super move, which basically takes them out completely, but basically gives you an extra super move, because normally you have to charge up a meter to do those moves, and they're the strongest that you're going to have at your disposal. Another really cool thing is there's small enemies and big enemies aside from the bosses. So every time you kill a big enemy, it's going to give you another turn. And that's really cool because you're kind of strategizing the whole time. How could I take out a bunch of big enemies and get myself more turns? So you could have one turn left, pull off a super move that just wipes out like 5 bigger enemies, and there you just gave yourself 5 more turns. All the while, you're kind of setting up your base camp to keep the invaders from hitting the barrier. So it has a really fun combat flow, and then when you go back into the school, you upgrade your abilities and get yourself more moves you can use. And the last bit is the exploration, which I think is the weakest aspect of this game. When you explore outside the school, you could basically go get more currency, more items to create new gifts, and it's kind of like a little board game where you roll a dice and these little chibi versions of the characters go through these spaces. You might land on an enemy, which then you'll have to fight. You might land on a weird area where you have to make a decision to get a new item, and it could sometimes result in you losing HP if you click the wrong dialogue option. So these sections occasionally got a bit annoying because you get stopped so much by enemies and it's not really getting you anything. Also, the dialogue options, the get these items don't always make fully sense. I almost feel like a lot of them are RNG and they're not really based on can you think this through and actually choose the right decision. But I could be wrong on that. It just felt very RNG to me. Totally different than the way the endings work where your decisions seriously do matter. One thing I was worried about too is since the game is so long and I didn't know how they were going to handle all these endings, I was like, is the combat going to get stale? And it really didn't for me because they just keep giving you new mechanics. I totally thought around the 100-day mark I was going to unlock everything, but that's not true. The game really keeps on going. You keep on going for different endings and seeing more of the story and characters, and along those lines you're going to keep getting new combat mechanics, new scenarios, new bosses, so it really keeps itself fresh going along. And just seriously, for anime fans, JRPG fans, visual novel fans, this is a story worth experiencing. These are characters you will probably fall in love with. There's a lot of anime tropes, a lot of stuff you've seen before, but these characters really are very lovable and they're so different from each other. And it's just watching the chaos unfold as you go through this journey is just a lot of fun. I think the 100-line Last Defense Academy is a must-play for JRPG fans, specifically because the story blew me away. It's been a while since the story has made me gone, holy shit, at multiple points. And again, it's so funny. Like, these characters really just had me dying, and I love that about a game. If you can make me laugh consistently from your characters or the dialogue, I'm definitely going to like the game more. And then on the side, you get a good little side dish of SRPG combat that actually has more depth than I initially thought it would have. So the 100-line Last Defense Academy was awesome. Absolutely wild game. I totally recommend it. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of the 100-line Last Defense Academy. Let me know. Are you going to pick it up? Have you guys played it already? Give me your thoughts on it. No spoilers in the comments though, guys, because this game is very spoiler heavy. You got to be experiencing it yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys are also having a fantastic day. I will see you in the next video very soon. Peace.